Hey friends and foes, welcome to the Brushwork Podcast. My name is Stephanie Scott, and today we're talking about how to get prepared for a gallery group show. Let's get into it. So today I have an opening for a group show at Gallery Ergo, which is in Pike Place Market. I'm really excited. I have been preparing for the show for several months, and I wanted to talk to y'all about what it's like to, one, find a show to get into, and two, get into it, and three, how I prepare all my materials and paintings I eventually submit to the show, and how I do promotional work and things like that for the show, and just walk you through the whole process. I will also come back later today and tell you about how the opening went, which is tonight, June 10th. So back in January, I was talking to my friend Nicole Baker. She has a podcast for perfectionists that I highly recommend you go listen. And she was like, what are some goals that you have? Like big goals. So I wrote a bunch of them down, and one of them was be a part of a group show. I wrote it down in my little journal, sketchbook, notebook. Y'all have one of those, right? Where it's just like your to-do list, your grocery list, whatever. Anyways, I wrote it down and I was like, someday this will happen. Someday this year this will happen. And I didn't think about it. And then serendipitously, like a month later in February, I get this email from Gallery Ergo, and they are like, hey, Stephanie, do you want to be part of a group show called Green Around the Gills? You can submit up to 2 pieces. They can be 5 by 5 inches max, little guys, and we would like you to be a part of it. And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. Let's go. I want in. And, so that was a really fast check that off the list of my yearly goals. Very cool, right? So how I started this relationship with this gallery, and Gallery Ergo is a artist-run gallery in Pike Place Market, which means that it has several core members that are all artists, and they do all the running of the gallery together, which is very cool. They tend to take less of a commission on any sold paintings that you might have, and they are much more collaborative in who they reach out to. How I got the invitation to this show goes back 2 years, back in 2019, I think, and I came upon this profile. On this profile had some really beautiful geometric artwork, and I'm an abstract geometric artist, and so I'm always attracted to this kind of artwork. And I saw this person's paintings, and I saw that they were actual paintings and not just digital mock-ups, and they were so precise and like fantastic patterns, and it just blew me away. So, of course, I left a comment. Matt Megdley, who is the artist of the profile and also one of the co-founders of Gallery Ergo, was like, hey, I like your work too. And so we followed each other, and I was thinking to myself, it would be really cool to do a collaboration with Matt. So I sent him a message. I was like, what if we both get like 12 by 12 inch panels, and I'll draw out my design on one of them and you draw out your design on the other one, and then we'll switch and we'll each paint each other's panel. And, you get to keep the piece of art of the collaboration that we've made together at the end of it. So we made 2 very funky and interesting paintings based on each other's drawings. It was very fun collaboration, and I've done this sort of thing with a couple of other artists since then. But this collaboration that I put out towards Matt became a relationship I now have with Gallery Ergo, which is very cool. So Matt hadn't started this gallery that I know of when we first did this collaboration. And let me go back to, your relationships really matter here. Your relationships matter so much, especially when you're trying to get into group shows. So I didn't know he was going to start an artist-run gallery. I didn't know that he knew anyone to get into it with. I just thought his art was cool, and I was like, we should do something together. So that's how that started. So after we did the collaboration, which was very fun, I hadn't really heard from Matt much at all. We kind of, were friendly towards each other on Instagram and liking and commenting on things, and that's, as you do, good behavior. And then in 2021, he starts up his gallery, which was Gallery Atlantis at the time. They've since switched names to Gallery Ergo, and they were like, hey, we're going to do a really tiny coaster show, and I'd like for you to make 2 pieces of art for this group show. So the show was called For Your Health, and we could make anything we wanted as long as it was 4 inches by 4 inches. And Matt even gave us little coasters to work on. It was very cute. So I made 2 paintings and I submitted it to the coaster show. And that's how I met some other artists who are part of this gallery. This gallery they have in Pike Place Market, it's really quite beautiful. They have 2 studio spaces in the back, and then they have several walls with very different emerging artists, all local to Seattle, all in there. And so we go to the show and I took pictures and it was really cool. Neither of my paintings sold, but that doesn't really matter because I got to be in a show in Pike Place Market, right? And that was so cool. So that was that show. That was my first group show with them. After the show ended, I waited too long to pick up my art because sometimes I forget about things. As you do. Try to be prompt with your gallery runner. Try to pick things up on time. It makes them happy. I, continued to have a, good Instagram relationship. I would talk about the gallery on my stories and I would post pictures when I was ever there and things like that. And so fast forward to today, which I have another show with them. The show is called Green Around the Gills. It's very nautical themed. The show was a little bit bigger in size, more artists, but also bigger paintings. And also it had more of a stronger theme where before For Your Health was the coaster show. You didn't have to make art that was related to the idea of For Your Health. But for this one, they were like, do something that's green around the gills. Okay, so 2021 happened. We did the For Your Health show. It was really fun, very successful. I got a lot of new followers and some feedback and all sorts of new engagement on my content, which is really cool. And then afterwards, they forwarded everything that didn't sell at the coaster show to another gallery in Milwaukee, which was really fun. So, sometimes your group shows get extended to 1 month to 2 months and sometimes longer. And that was awesome. So I got my art back and I picked it up. And then, some time went by. So then in February, Matt sends me another email. And he's like, hello, friends. Hope you're doing well. We've got another medium to large group show going on. And he wanted to invite us. So then I was like, okay, it's February. The show's in June. It starts on the 10th. It goes for a month. And I need to make 2 pictures. They each have to be 5 by 5 inches. And that needs to include any framing that I might have. So I was like, okay. At that time, I knew I was going to be going to Italy for a month in April, May. So I was like, okay, I need to make these paintings before I go to Italy so they have time enough to dry and I can get them to the gallery in time for them to hang it up and have a good time, right? So basically, I made both of my paintings plus 2 extra. I made 4 total, actually. And I put them all on Twitch as my content for the month of February. I made those 4 paintings. They all had gold, they were all geometric, and they were all green around the gills related. The ones I ended up submitting are called Mermaid and Sunbeam. So I did lots of green paintings and lots of nautical colored paintings. I also made 2 others called Seafoam and North Star. As a nod to wayfaring, which was really fun. And those 2 paintings I have up on my website right now that are being sold, so that's cool. So I made the paintings in March. I let them dry. I got them photographed, and then I took them to the gallery and I dropped them off. And I dropped them off with little Velcro tabs to hang on the wall because I didn't want to put a frame on them. And abracadabra, I submitted my pictures that I had, the high resolution ones, to the gallery. And then I went on my trip to Italy and had a grand old time. It was really fun. I'll tell you all about that in another podcast episode. So after that, what happens is you wait, and then the gallery sets up the shows. Sometimes you're required to set up your own art in an artist-run gallery, but for this one, they said they would do it themselves. I like group shows where everything is required to be the same size because everything is going to look really good together on a wall, which is very fun. So today is the opening, and for promotion for the opening, I've been kind of teasing on my social media for the last week or 2, and I just sent out today a personal invite to my email subscribers who live in Washington to come to the show and come see it. And that's that. Something really exciting happened last night. So they had a buyer's open, and one of my paintings has already sold in the show, which is so cool. So perks of getting your work in early is that your gallery will promote them for you a little bit more than someone who might turn something in last minute. Very cool, right? So that's that. So now what will happen is I'll go to the opening tonight, and I'm meeting a couple of friends and collectors of mine who can actually go to the show, Pike Place area is a very fun, very touristy area of Seattle, and it's such a delight to go there. So I'm excited to go there tonight. After this, what will happen is I'll reach out to people in the community who didn't get a chance to see the show tonight, and I'll be like, hey, do you want to come down to Gallery Ergo with me? And I'll walk you through the gallery, and I'll talk about the work I made. And maybe we can go get a coffee or something. I don't really want to push a sale on them. Basically, what I'm doing is building the relationship. And when I get people in front of my work in a space they can go to publicly, it really cements the idea of my paintings and my personality into a better relationship for potentially a further commission down the line, or maybe a sale of a bigger painting, things like that. So I will bring people to the gallery over the next month and spend some time in Pike Place Market with them. It's very good to do things like that. Relationship building. We love it. On July 10th, the gallery will close the show, and then I will go pick up any art that doesn't sell and probably put it up for sale on my website. At this point, I'm also going to start looking at shows for next year. In 2023, I have one show already ready to go. That's going to be in the spring from February to March. But I'm also going to look at another group show to do, either with this same gallery or perhaps with a different one. We'll see what happens. But it's always good to be looking out for future you and see if there's any opportunities. Okay, so to break it down to you, what you got to do in order to get a group show. These are some solid steps. Number one, you need to have some sort of established social media presence and also a website. A website helps too. So what I did was I've been using Instagram for many years now, and I make sure I post basically every single day. And I also have a website that has a very cultivated set of images from my gallery. I'm not showing everything on my website that I've ever made. I'm making sure it looks really good together. It's cohesive, it's interesting, and it fits in a theme where when you look at it, you're like, that's Stephanie's artwork. So that's step one. Have those two things. Number two is to be really friendly. Cultivate good relationships with people who are in your field. Maybe it's peers, maybe it's people who own coffee shops and galleries or whatever it is that you're trying to get into. But be friendly always. Always be friendly. Try to have really good, clear relationships with these people and maintain them. That means commenting on their work, going to their openings, and being really enthusiastic about what they do. That's how you build relationships, and that's how you start getting invites to things like this. Number three is to be really responsible and punctual when you do get an invitation like a group show. When someone sends you an email, don't hem and haw over it for several days. Reply within a day. Be like, yes, I'm doing this, or no, I'm not. If you do say yes, make sure you're making work and that it's dry and complete and ready to hang before you bring it to the gallery. Don't make them email you being like, hey, you forgot hanging hardware, like I did for this show. Don't do that. Try to keep it really professional and really slick so it's easy as possible for that gallery to work with you, so you can get more invites like this in the future. If you are the one who's reaching out to people, be polite. Be so polite. In your emails, make sure you're saying, I love your work, I love your gallery, I love the coffee shop space you're in, I like X, Y, and Z, and be like, I would love to hang my art here. Here's some examples of what I do. Here's how to contact me in several different ways. Here's my Instagram, here's my website. Let me know if you have any openings. And then number 4.5 or 5, I guess, I've lost count already, is be patient. One time I reached out to a coffee shop asking to have a show, and they got back to me 2 years later. But they got back to me. It happened. I kind of just wrote them off. Don't get mad if someone doesn't reply to you right away. Be patient. They've got other things to do. They might have missed your email. They might have thought, oh, hey, I like this artist. I'll get back to them later today. And then, a month goes by. Take your time, be patient, and keep working on your artwork. It's going to work out. And that's how I tend to get my group shows. I hope this was helpful for you. If you want to find me on the internet, I am stephaniescott.art over on Instagram. I am at brushworkpod on Instagram as well. You can find the podcast at www.stephaniescott.art. And I think that's all. I will post an update after this about how the show went, so stay tuned for more. Okay, goodbye! Hey, before I go to the show, I was editing the first half of this podcast episode, and one of the paintings that I made for Extra just sold on my website, and I want to celebrate every painting win, and this is a big deal. So thank you, Grace, for purchasing that. I appreciate you. So it's the next day. I am home from the show opening that we had, and it was really cool. It was really cool. Several of my friends came, which honestly, thank you so much for showing up. I really appreciate you being here for my artwork. It's the best feeling. The show had lots of people in this gallery at Pike Place Market. Gallery Ergo is just so cool. And I sold a painting. I sold Sunbeam, which is a gradient painting with some gold in it. And that was just the best feeling. So that was really cool. There was great conversation. Some of the other artists just did brilliant, amazing things with the theme green around the gills. And I am really, really honored to be part of this show. It was really fun. I can't wait to take some of my friends there in the next month. If you're my friend and you want to come see Pike Place Market and also see my art in Pike Place Market, it's so cool to say that. You should hit me up. But I'm looking forward to more shows with Gallery Ergo in the future. I love these group shows and they're just so fun. I hope that this episode is really inspiring to you and that you get a chance to be in a group show yourself if that's what you want. All right, take care, friends and foes. You're the best. I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.